How did the investigation go yesterday, Mr. Wright? Frankly, there are still a lot of gray areas. Or rather, the whole thing is one big gray area. Don't worry about me, no matter what the outcome. I'm ready to accept my fate. I believe in you, sis. Mr. Wright, let me offer you a word of advice. Yes, a defense attorney should never believe their client. The defendant is called to trial because they are suspected of wrongdoing. Never forget that. Miss Skye, you remind me a lot of Mia. But there is one decisive difference between you and her. And that is, you're not a defense attorney. I believe it's almost time for the trial. Good luck, Mr. Wright. My first trial without a Fae helping me. No one's going to bail me out this time. I'll be alone in there. So I have to discover the truth all by myself. Let's do it, Mr. Wright. I'll be with you the whole way. Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution has been ready for a while, Your Honor. Edgeworth. It's been 2 months, but I haven't been in a courtroom since his trial. I hope that personal feelings will not be a part of the proceedings today, Mr. Wright. I will choose the path I think is right, regardless of what those around me might say. The judgment to be made here is in our hands, not those of anyone else. Very well, Mr. Edgeworth. Your opening statement, please. Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye has committed an unpardonable crime. Not only this, but she was rash enough to commit it in the prosecutor's office parking lot. Wow, he's much more forceful in person. I suddenly feel like confessing to everything. However, she will now pay for her rashness with her life. There was a witness to her crime. A professional witness. Well then, call your first witness, Mr. Edgeworth. The prosecution calls its first witness, Miss Angel Starr, to the stand. The cough-up queen? Haven't I seen you somewhere? You ordered the caviar lunch, right? Oh, caviar! I've never eaten caviar before. The judge is really wolfing it down. Ah, and for you, I have a Fiesta Bowl. Thanks. Will the witness state her name and profession? Ah, and you, sir? Did you order the fingerprint lunchbox? It is too early for lunch. Your name and profession, please. Well, Your Honor, how does it taste? So this is why everyone raves about caviar. It's so tasty it hurts. I always thought caviar would taste like pickled tapioca. What the hell does pickled tapioca taste like? Name, profession, now. Me. The name is Angel Starr. Don't go forgetting it. I find myself running Lunchland these days. Is that what you wanted me to say, Mr. Edgeworth? Very well, witness. Please describe the incident to us. The prosecution will wait. I'm not finished eating. Hurry it up! Very well, Mr. Edgeworth. As you know, we usually call on the police to provide a description of the crime. Your Honor, as Mr. Edgeworth has said to the court, I am a professional. What exactly does that mean? Until 2 years ago, Miss Angel Starr was a special investigator with the police. She was a first-rate homicide detective. What? Miss Starr was a detective? Aha! I know who you are. Cough up? cough up Queen Angel Star, Your Honor. Long time no see. Very well. You may continue with the description, Miss Star. What are you doing, Phoenix Wright? Just who is this lady? If I might have the court's attention over here. The parking lot at the prosecutor's office is divided into 2 blocks. A block is for the prosecutor's office personnel. B block is for visitors and clients. A chain divider separates the 2 blocks. Starting every sentence with the letter A is throwing me off. I suppose that's to keep visitors from taking up prosecutor spaces, yes? The crime took place by a car in the back of A block in the car's trunk. The killer stabbed the victim with this knife and went to drive the body out. Unfortunately for her, there was a witness and an arrest was made on the spot. And who was this valiant witness? Why, it was me, Your Honor. Witness, did you see the very moment of the crime? Of course, Your Honor. Immediately after that, I apprehended the chief prosecutor. It seems rather cut and dry, doesn't it? Well, Mr. Wright? I can't agree on principle, Your Honor. It seems that some poor losers are unwilling to accept the truth, Your Honor. Shall I proceed to crush what little hope they have remaining? If you can, then give them your worst, Miss Star. Wait, are they talking about me? Somehow, I always knew a day like this would come. I was on my way to deliver a lunchbox to my boyfriend, when I sensed something. Perhaps it was my finely honed detective's intuition at work. Through the wire fence, I saw the chief prosecutor standing next to a garish car. The chief prosecutor was holding a knife in her right hand. Then she thrust the pointy tip of the knife into Detective Goodman's chest. Bringing a lunchbox to your boyfriend? How touching. As you can see, there is no room for doubt. The key point of your testimony seems to be nothing other than the point of the knife which you saw being stabbed into Detective Goodman. So, how does it feel to be utterly crushed? I'm still thinking about that. It's merely a flesh wound, Mr. Wright. Very well, Mr. Wright. You may cross-examine the witness. Let's do just that. It's so nice playing the trilogy version because you don't have to watch the entire text scroll. This game just has, like, the ability to skip text whenever you want, even in a first playthrough, and that's such a good addition. Hold it! How did you know? I respect the prosecutor's basic abhorrence of crime, yet their methods are ugly and twisted. Twisted methods will always lead to tragedy. The lunch lady's uninformed opinion is duly noted. Given that they are used to erasing inconvenient evidence at their whim, killing off a detective that knew too much is merely an extension of that. Miss Starr, do you have something personal against prosecutors? I felt that I had found my dream job when I became an investigator. And if I hadn't been laid off by those prosecutors over there, I'd still be one. Laid off? She was fired? To me, prosecutors are nothing more than worms. That said, I am a pro, as you know. My testimony is unbiased and flawless. Very well. You may continue, Miss Starr. Hold it! This boyfriend, he's the detective? Not that boyfriend, the security guard. That boyfriend? You have several? Your Honor, polyamory is, like, relatively normal now. Get with the times. Yes, this boyfriend, that boyfriend, and the other boyfriend. Care to join? The yet another boyfriend position is still open for applicants. I'll stick with the lunches, thanks. Note to self, the judge had to think before replying, even though he is confirmed to be married. The security guard room is in the lot in A block. It's up on the second level, so you can see everything from there. That would be the room with the security sign. Incidentally, did you bring your lunchboxes by car? Since I'm a visitor now, I parked in B block. So she was in B block when she witnessed the crime. Hold it! By garish car, you mean Mr. Edgeworth's car, yes. Mr. Edgeworth's? Incidentally, the knife with which the victim was stabbed was also Mr. Edgeworth's. Wasn't it? Indeed it was. What an odd case this is. And the person you saw, you are sure it was the defendant? I saw her from no further than 30 feet away. I am certain it was her. If she's telling the truth, we're doomed. Let's just do what we can. Even if we don't have any proof, we can always nitpick. Witness! In your testimony, you clearly stated the following. Prosecutors are nothing more than worms. Ergo, you are a biased witness. You might want to keep those silly opinions to yourself in the future, rookie. Huh? Rookie? Unless you're willing to risk the consequences of doubting me. I'll fry you like a fritter. Crispy on the outside, chewy on the inside. That was inspiring. I believe I've heard that tagline elsewhere. You could cry plagiarism. I may be relegated to the lowly post of lunch lady, but my instincts are honed. A photograph? You took this? The moment I witnessed the crime, my reflexes took over and snap! I took a picture. In fact, one of my lunchboxes is rigged with a camera. I suppose that's more exciting than just hanging it around your neck. Witness, why am I only seeing this photograph just now? You think I'd show it to you, a prosecutor? Think again. My boyfriend works in the photography division of criminal affairs. Well, this is most certainly the defendant. Uh-oh. That is unmistakably Lana Skye. So, what was the defendant doing at the time? The chief prosecutor was holding a knife in her right hand. There's no prints on it. But also, she's very clearly not holding a knife in this photograph. You can also present this on the sixth statement. I'm just doing it on the fifth. Objection! And you witnessed this. You saw Miss Skye stab the victim with the knife. As I've already said, yes. I swear it on my finest salmon swirl lunch. I'm sure that is a fine lunch. But isn't that odd? Look at this photograph. This is the photograph you took at the very moment of the crime, is it not? Then why is Miss Skye not holding a knife? Ahem. Mr. Edgeworth, your thoughts? Objection. That had to be the weakest objection ever, Edgeworth. Yet it was still stronger than your ever-feeble mind, Mr. Wright. This conversation is entirely different in the DS version, just those last few sentences, in a way that makes a lot less sense. So this was updated in the localization. The localization for Rise from the Ashes overall is just improved between the DS and the 3DS version. So that's another part of the reason I'm playing this version. What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? This photograph was not taken the moment before the stabbing. This was taken the moment after the stabbing. Objection! And how can you tell that? Blood splatter. See the dark crimson stains on the chief prosecutor's coat? But it's a black and white photograph. Yes, it's hard to tell, but this could be blood. Well, Mr. Wright, I see no problem here. No problem, except you. Mr. Wright, are you going to just sit there and take that kind of abuse? You got a better idea? You actually need to say no problem in order to get an achievement. You're not going to get the achievement right away, but this is one of 16 steps to getting an achievement. Not even 16. It goes beyond 20, actually, I think. So make sure you say no problem if you're playing the PC version going for achievements. Now that you mention it, I see no problem here. Other than myself.
Mr. Wright, you can't just let him walk all over you. That's just sad.
Feeling sad, Mr. Wright? Perhaps a bittersweet first love lunchbox is in order. Well, that was a waste of time. Let's continue with the testimony. Perhaps I should have dug a little deeper. We're just gonna represent the crime photo on the 5th or 6th statement. Wait! That contradicts what the witness said in her testimony. Namely, that she took the picture the moment she witnessed the crime. Well, it seems I was slightly unclear. My apologies. That's it? If you run out of lunch, you order seconds. Problem solved. If you don't like it, try ordering the jumbo-sized lunch from the get-go. Good advice. I'm not sure I understood it, but good advice. I didn't have the time to stop her. Prosecutor Skye was cold, calculating, like a robot. She killed without pain or remorse. It was a premeditated murder. Objection! Premeditated? How do you know? Look at the chief prosecutor's hands in that photograph. Well, are those gloves? Surgical gloves made of thin rubber, most likely. Why would she have those on? If it was not premeditated, she would not be wearing those gloves! Ah! These gloves do seem to tell a tale of premeditation. Premeditated murder. A serious offense. Witness, add this to your testimony. The murder was planned. The rubber gloves prove it. Then why was it done with Edgeworth's knife? Which we can examine. I forgot you can do this. This must be the victim's blood, right? Either that or Edgeworth cut himself peeling an apple. What's Edgeworth doing with a knife like this anyway? Hey, maybe he spent his weekends roughing it in the wild. Edgeworth? In the wild? I think my fruit peeling theory is more likely.
Are you kidding? I always pictured him as an outdoorsman.
There's a scary thought. Anyway. Objection! Witness, do you know what this is? Are you trying to test me? I sell lunchboxes for a living, you know. That's a knife. The knife. The knife that was in Mr. Edgeworth's trunk. Indeed, it is my knife. In this case, bloody murder weapon, red car, all belonging to the prosecutor there. The defender's the chief prosecutor of the district, right?
I'm here, prosecutors, people.
The defense has a request. We ask that the witness provide an accurate testimony. What's that, rookie? In your testimony, you stated that Lana Skye planned this murder. And that's why she was wearing those special gloves. Seems like a natural conclusion to me. The gloves do indicate planning. However, why would she not also prepare the most important thing, the murder weapon? Oh. This knife just happened to be in the trunk of that car. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to plan a murder, you don't forget the weapon! Order! 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 Great. Now the tide is turning in our favor.
Great show, Mr. Wright. My sister's as good as free.
Right. I believe the next lunch you'll be eating is humble pie. What? I hope you weren't deluding yourself into thinking that the tide has turned. Not over such a trifling detail. But this shoots a hole in the whole premeditated theory. Bah. The prosecution could care less if it was premeditated or not. The only one who seems to care is that lunch lady over there. The defendant, Lana Skye, murdered a detective with a knife. That is the only thing the prosecution need prove. Nothing else.
Very good, Mr. Prosecutor. I suppose you think you're clever now. But you know as well as I do that she planned on killing him. It was planned. If it wasn't, why would she have been wearing...
I believe I'd like to hear your testimony again. Witness, please tell us only what you saw, not what you thought.
How dare you? My powers of deduction are not to be underestimated. Really now. Lana Skye intended to murder Detective Goodman. That's why she called the victim all the way to the prosecutor's office. I'm sure the chief prosecutor had a grudge against the victim. Nothing else could drive that human machine to plunge the knife in again and again.
The victim was summoned from the police department to the prosecutor's office. It does sound a lot like premeditation, doesn't it?
So if I ordered a pizza, does that mean I'm planning to kill the delivery boy?
In any case, the defense may now cross-examine the witness. Contradiction's actually pretty obvious in this one. Plunge the knife in again and again. Loss of blood from chest wound. A single stab wound was found.
Objection!
You say she stabbed him again and again. But you couldn't have witnessed that.
Are you testing me? Then I'll test you. With my moss surprise!
I'm afraid the moss is growing under our feet as we wait, Miss Starr. What do you mean? I shouldn't have to explain this, but take a look. The autopsy report states that death was due to a loss of blood from one stab wound. Aha! You're right! Good show, Mr. Edgeworth!
What a hunk! He's my hero, really. What about my objection? No one noticed?
Well, witness?
You got the crime scene set, right?
No, thanks.
I always believed that no one could ever mistake ketchup for blood. But now I realize that such mistakes are possible.
So, you're saying you mistook something for blood?
When she lifted her knife, I thought I saw blood at her breast. Splattered blood from her victim. That's why I thought she must have stabbed him at least twice.
Then tell us what you saw that you thought was blood. Testify!
Her red muffler looked like blood to me. That's how ghastly the whole scene was.
If we look at the crime photo, she is not wearing a red muffler.
Objection!
Miss Starr, I demand an explanation.
Objection!
The witness is clearly not suited for detective work.
What?
The suspect was not wearing a scarf or muffler of any kind when she stabbed the victim. And you've proved it yourself with this photograph.
Huh? But that can't be!
Only a professional lunch lady could be so utterly clueless. Congratulations! Perhaps you finally found your true calling in life. Harsh words, but good.
In the end, Mr. Edgeworth prevails. What was my objection? Chopped liver? But it was there! A scarf! No, not that, but something red, really!
Well now, where were we? The witness has given us an entertaining interlude, but back to business.
What?
Very well, witness. Continue your testimony. You saw the crime and apprehended the suspect. Tell us about that.
Very well. I do remember some things accurately, at least. Ultimately, we couldn't shake the most important part of her testimony. Most important part? The part where your sister stabs the victim. This next testimony might just be the moment of truth. After the murder, the suspect attempted to run behind a partition off to her side. I quickly caught her, explained her rights to her, and arrested her on the spot. Ah yes, when I arrested her, she mentioned the muffler. That's what had me confused in my earlier testimony. The chief prosecutor made to escape, but against Angel Starr, resistance is futile.
You are quite determined about this scarf, aren't you?
I strike like a snake and bite like a cobra. That's me, Angel Star.
That wasn't a very good metaphor. First of all, a cobra is a kind of snake.
Don't bother me with details unless you want to get bitten.
No thanks!
Note to self, Mr. Wright is weak against poisonous snake bites. Most people are, Emma. The chief prosecutor tried to resist, but her efforts were in vain. She knocked my hands aside, kicked over an oil drum.
An oil drum? Hard to imagine.
Oh, she's beautiful but deadly. A predator, this one. A leopard woman. Rawr!
Very well, Mr. Wright. Your cross-examination, if you will. All right. In this testimony, we want to press her on the statement where she says that Lana mentioned the muffler for... This is another thing for that achievement.
Hold it!
She mentioned the muffler? What exactly did she say?
If I remembered exactly, I would have told you in my testimony. Cheeky. Anyway, all I heard her say was the word muffler.
Just that one word? So what you heard wasn't the suspect talking to you, but someone else?
Yes, the chief prosecutor was talking on her phone.
Her phone?
She can't mean...
We want to ask further, but beforehand, I will warn you. Actually, never mind. We do need to do this for story. I'm sorry, I'm losing it. By phone, do you mean this cell phone discovered at the crime scene?
Yes, ultimately.
Ultimately?
My memory. It's like a salmon, heading upstream, you see.
No, the court doesn't see, Miss Starr.
The chief prosecutor first attempted to use the phone hanging on the wall.
On the wall?
That's right. Near the car. There was an emergency phone on the wall. Apparently, it was out of order.
And so she used her cell phone. Indeed, the emergency phone was out of order that day. Good witnessing, witness.
Good witnessing? Whatever happened to good testifying?
You should, of course, add this to your testimony.
Things I do to please this rookie defense attorney.
The word muffler was overheard during a call made to Emma at 5:18.
I saw it all, how she tried the phone on the wall but had to use her cell instead.
Okay, we want to press this now.
Hold it!
Do you think you could restate your testimony for the court? Aha! I was going to ask the same thing.
I'll only say this one time, so listen close, rookies. The chief prosecutor stabbed the victim and ran behind the partition. Then she picked up the emergency phone on the wall, but it was out of order. So she pulled her own cell phone out of her pocket. And during that time, you climbed over the chain link fence. Then, when I boldly grabbed her arm, the chief prosecutor hung up her phone.
And you saw her doing this?
What is it, Mr. Wright?
Okay. So, she's saying she saw all this from the opposite side of B block. You couldn't see that because of the partition. I think this is correct.
Objection!
This evidence clearly reveals the contradiction in that statement, Your Honor. How exactly are the evidence and the statement just now related? They aren't, are they? Not at all. Mr. Wright, please think the facts over before making accusations. I don't think that won me any points with the judge. Okay, so that was wrong, but, at least that was the first penalty I've taken in this entire LP. Okay, we actually want to press her second statement. Sorry, I'm getting out of order because of this achievement, but we're back on track.
Hold it!
You say quickly, were you close to the suspect?
As I just said, I was only 30 feet away from her the whole time.
Maybe I should press her for more details. I'd like to see this on the floor plans, just to be safe. The Lunchland car was... She was a visitor, thus she was parked in B block. So you witnessed the murder from here. That would make it about 30 feet from the car, yes. Is that correct, Miss Starr?
Yes, that's right.
But there was a chain link fence in front of you.
I went over it, of course.
Amazing. The cough-up queen, lunch lady athlete indeed.
It would have taken her a little time to climb over the fence, so she couldn't have gotten to my sister that fast.
Yeah, that fence was about 9 feet high, too. So how did Miss Sky not get away? Alright. Now that she has said this and we have the cell phone, now we can present the floor plans, I think. She already said she witnessed it from B block, but I guess we had to reiterate that information.
Objection!
Miss Starr, I have to conclude that you have a personal grudge against Miss Lana Sky.
Objection!
The witness is a former detective. Her testimony is unmarred by personal bias.
Well, who would have thought you would be my knight in shining armor, prosecutor? You, who, together with the chief prosecutor, kicked me out 2 years ago.
Well, Miss Starr, this is a fatal contradiction with your testimony. How do you explain this?
I don't know what you're talking about. Mess with me, and I'll make you cough it all up.
Let's look at the floor plans. You said you witnessed the crime from this point. However, if that's true, you couldn't have possibly seen Miss Sky making that phone call. I believe you see what I'm getting at. That emergency phone was on the back side of this partition. If indeed you were in B block, you couldn't have seen it!
What? What?
Order! Order! What is the meaning of this? It's simple, Your Honor. She's not coughing up lunch, she's coughing up lies!
Objection!
That's quite a claim, Mr. Wright. Perhaps you will allow me a question. Tell us exactly what lie this witness has told the court. Here's where the counterattack begins. I can't afford to get this wrong. The witness lied about... So the correct answer here is not what I'm about to say, but for that damn achievement, you need to say what she saw. She lied about what she saw. In other words, she didn't see Miss Sky using that emergency phone. It does seem hard to imagine how she could have. Very logical. What's the matter, Star? Cat got your lunchbox?
Mr. Wright, I hate to bother you while you're celebrating your victory, but why would Miss Starr lie like that?
Huh?
Why would she say that my sister had tried to use the phone but failed? It doesn't make any sense. Why lie about something so insignificant?
Oh. Damn it, she's right.
I mean, maybe she really did see her try to use the emergency phone.
I see no room for doubt here.
You ordered the patooey on rice, right?
Mr. Wright, and I thought you had something there. One more try. I see it in your eyes. You haven't learned your lesson, have you? Tell us exactly what lie this witness has told the court. Here's where the counterattack begins. I can't afford to get this wrong. The witness lied about, so the order of the events is also wrong, but you need to answer it for the damn achievement. She lied about the order of events. Miss Sky used that emergency phone before the murder. I see. I hadn't thought of that. That took the wind out of her sails.
Mr. Wright, I hate to bother you while you're celebrating your victory, but why would anyone use the emergency phone before the murder?
Huh? Just when you think he can't sink any lower, he amazes us. I applaud you, Mr. Wright.
You ordered the orange peel lunchbox, right? That's fucking nasty.
I guess that teaches me to not get excited before the evidence. One more try. Mr. Wright, I am beginning to lose faith in you, but tell us exactly what lie the witness has told the court.
Here's where the counterattack begins. I can't afford to get this wrong a third time. The witness lied about...
The obvious correct answer is where she saw it.
Miss Sky tried to use the emergency phone, but it was out of order. What is significant about this fact? Nothing. Therefore, it would be pointless for Miss Star to lie about it.
Pointless to lie. I see.
But say the witness did actually see Miss Sky using the emergency phone. It would mean Miss Star witnessed the crime from a different location.
Objection!
A different location? Now that's a pointless lie if I ever heard one.
Objection!
Before you call my lie pointless, at least let me tell it.
Let me ask a question to our clever wordsmith, Mr. Wright. Just where was the witness when she saw the crime?
All the testimony we've heard until now points in one direction. The place from where Miss Star witnessed this crime was here.
Security room.
Take that!
This is the only place where she could have been.
The security guard room? Indeed, the security room in the underground parking lot is well positioned. It's built on the second floor so you can see the entire lot. She would have been able to see the emergency phone from there. But why there? There are many other places where she could have seen the phone.
Not in this case, Your Honor. The witness not being part of the prosecutor's office couldn't park in A block. The only place where she could have seen the crime and the back of the partition is here. I remember in your testimony you said you brought a lunch to your boyfriend in the security guard room, yes? Well, Miss Star? How many years have I been getting the better of men? To think that the tables could be turned. Today, a man has got the better of Angel Star.
Order! Order! Witness! What have you done? You used to be a detective. You should know better.
I'm not turning back. The guilty will be punished. And I'll do what I must to make sure justice prevails. The guilty. Is she talking about Miss Sky? Mr. Wright, doesn't this strike you as odd? Why did Miss Star lie? It doesn't make sense. Huh? She could have just said she saw the crime from the security guard station. It wouldn't change anything.
Exactly. This photograph tells all. It was the defendant who stabbed the victim. That truth still stands.
Objection!
It still stands? I disagree, Mr. Edgeworth. What? If a witness is found to be lying, they're guilty of perjury. She knows this. She wouldn't risk that without a good reason.
So tell us what her reason was, Mr. Wright.
Huh? Me?
Who else?
Mr. Wright, let's reveal what we know. Miss Star witnessed the crime from the security guard station. But she lied and said she saw it from B block. It must make a vital difference, but what? What would change? Distance to the crime. This is the correct answer? I think. Yes. And it's required for this achievement. It changes the distance between her and the scene of the crime.
Objection!
My condolences, Mr. Wright, but one look at the floor plans and it's quite clear. The distance between the scene of the crime and the guard station is 30 feet. I don't see how that would change what she could see.
Objection!
What she saw is not in question here. What matters is the time it would take her to reach the scene of the crime. Miss Star, you witnessed the crime from the security guard station. Now, how long did it take you to go from there to the scene of the crime where you arrested Miss Sky?
Well, witness?
You.
Yes?
You ordered the squid wheels, right? The quality of my lunches has gone from low to inedible. I was bringing a PB&J lunch with fresh boysenberry jam to my boyfriend.
Boysenberry for the boyfriend.
He wasn't in the guard station, so I waited. I witnessed the crime from the glass-walled station. And before I knew what I was doing, I found myself running towards the scene. But the door was locked. I couldn't open it. That's why I had to go through the visitors' parking in B block.
That's quite a detour.
It probably took me at least 5 minutes to get to the scene of the crime.
5 minutes? This changes things considerably.
But it was that woman over there in the defendant's chair who stabbed him. I know it. I have photographic evidence. I swear it. I swear it on my finest plastic spork.
You have a point, and the spork is a wonderful invention.
Would you like another caviar lunch?
Absolutely. Uh-oh.
Mr. Wright, you have to do something.
Do I have any evidence to stop this? I don't know. Let's sit back and observe. I think I need more evidence before I go sticking my spork in this mess. Woo! Caviar! Ah, how it makes my eyes tingle.
Mr. Wright, no evidence can win against the raw power of caviar. It's a scientific fact. The only thing that's left is your strong presence and deft powers of deduction. Let's screw the lid back on these overpriced fish eggs.
Objection!
5 minutes between the witnessing of the murder and the arrest. Think about it. You can make pasta in that amount of time, if you like it al dente.
I've got lunchboxes that tie pasta into knots, rookie.
A 5-minute blank. Isn't that strange? Strange? If you were a criminal, what would you do with 5 minutes, Your Honor? Well, I guess I'd flee the scene. Hey! Don't get the wrong idea. I didn't kill anyone. But you have the instincts of a killer. You would run. But this time was different. Miss Sky dawdled at the scene of the crime. She even had her picture taken. No true criminal would act this way. It's inconceivable. Yeah? Well then, it seems we've come to the end of this testimony. The witness has a grudge against the defendant and a blank in her testimony. Mr. Edgeworth is the next witness ready to go. Unfortunately, I appear to have overestimated this witness on account of her professional history.
We did it. We screwed that can shut, Mr. Wright.
That was too close. I'm afraid that the cough-up queen has been dethroned. And with that, court is adjourned.
Hold it! Mr. Edgeworth, you ordered the squid wheels, right?
That's the one she tried to foist off on me. I prefer to not take the defense team's leftovers. Anything else to say?
I might be able to save you. I have decisive evidence.
What was that? Is this another one of her trick lunchboxes? My apologies, but we have no further questions to ask of you, Miss Starr.
Ah. Is this your jumbo lunchbox?
Woohoo! A triple-decker! Out of deference to the witness's determination, I'll allow one more testimony. Let's hear about this decisive evidence.
Like the Lunchland motto says, you won't be disappointed.
What's she going to pull out of her lunchbox this time?
I should have mentioned those 5 minutes when I wasn't looking at the crime scene. And now, to the matter of the victim's shoe. Did I not bring this up? 2 types of blood were found on this shoe. One was, of course, the victim's, and the other blood type matched that of the defendant, Miss Lana Skye. This shoe proves it. It's flawless, decisive evidence.
What? There was blood found on that shoe.
Try Lunchland for all your lunch and decisive evidence needs.
Objection!
Witness, what's the meaning of this? Why is this the first time I've heard of this evidence?
Simple, as I've already said. I don't trust you with evidence, Mr. Edgeworth. That's why I took the liberty of investigating this myself.
And you had blood tests performed?
Didn't I mention? I have 3 boyfriends in forensics.
But earlier in the trial you said you only have 3 boyfriends. In any case, Your Honor, I can't accept this as evidence.
What?
You must know the 2 rules of evidence law. Rule 1, no evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. In other words, the shoe is illegal evidence, at least for the time being.
Is that right, Mr. Wright?
It seems so. Edgeworth sure is celebrating. I don't know why I don't know for sure, because I went through law school too, but whatever.
Not so fast, Mr. Edgeworth. Don't forget, I used to be a detective. As I mentioned previously, this shoe has already been tested by a member of the forensics department. As you can see, it was approved by the police department as of today. Even the general public can produce official evidence, Mr. Edgeworth. Is that right, Mr. Wright?
It seems so. Edgeworth is looking pretty sullen. I love the detail of his, pupils, shaking in this sprite. It does not do that in the DS version. This is, one of the few sprites that I think is actually improved in the Trilogy version.
You could at least study some evidence law, really.
The prosecution's complaints notwithstanding, it appears that this evidence satisfies the first rule of evidence law. However, it seems you have yet another count against you, witness.
Anything to ensure that the guilty are properly judged.
Very well, Mr. Wright. You may cross-examine the witness. There's one more thing in this specific part of the case that we need to do for this achievement, but I don't know what statement you have to press, so I'm just gonna press everything.
Hold it!
Why did you lie about those 5 minutes?
I guess you could say I just wanted people to look at the results.
The results?
How many times do I have to say this? I saw the chief prosecutor stab the victim before my very own eyes. Compared to that, a 5-minute blank means nothing.
Then why didn't you just tell the truth?
Don't make me laugh. We're dealing with the most untrustworthy of the vile lot known as prosecutors. Falsified evidence, arranged testimonies, erasing and manipulating evidence. When you fight monsters, you need to use every trick in the book.
This when the suspect is admitting she did it? But false testimony is the most despicable crime of all, Miss Starr. Let's just get this over with.
Hold it!
And you found the shoe at scene of the crime?
I detained the chief prosecutor and notified the police department. I wanted to make myself useful while I was waiting for the police to arrive.
So, like an ill-trained pooch, you snuck off with the shoe.
I was afraid someone would erase the chief prosecutor's crime. This shoe was my secret weapon if that should happen. See this fashionable basket I have here? It carries more than lunchboxes, gentlemen. I'm happy for you and your lunchbox bag, really.
In any case, you remove valuable evidence from the scene of the crime. Now tell us what you did next.
Hold it!
So you brought it to the forensics department.
If you're going to submit something as evidence in court, you need it approved. To do that, evidence must be analyzed by a forensics expert.
And she got away with her little coup because she used to be a detective. The shoe does appear to have bloodstains on it.
Well, the man was stabbed after all.
And that blood belonged to the victim, Detective Goodman.
As I said, there were 2 types of blood found on the shoe.
Hold it!
You can't say for sure that the blood belonged to the defendant with a blood test.
You claim to know something about blood tests, rookie.
Huh?
Well, speak up!
Well, blood comes in 4 types, A, B, O, and AB. However, you can't tell from a blood test whether a murder was committed in cold blood! That's just a figure of speech, Mr. Wright.
Actually, we can differentiate between millions of types with all the blood tests out there, which means that we can more or less narrow any sample of blood down to just one person. Or so I hear. That's pretty specific. If I had a little more time, I would have gotten DNA test results. But they said there's very little doubt it could be anyone but Miss Lana Skies.
So the suspect's blood was found on the victim's shoe. That ties her directly to the death of Detective Goodman.
I was afraid he was going to say that.
Hold it!
I can't let this evidence go through without a fight. You ordered the peppered fish guts, right? Some like it hot, Mr. Wright. Some, like your client, she's in enough hot water to make a whole vat of soup. Mr. Wright, do you or don't you have a problem with this shoe?
A problem? This is critical. Is there a problem with the victim's shoe?
There's a problem. If I'm not imagining things, I'd say there is one critical problem with this evidence. A clear contradiction. That gleam in your eyes. You're still young, rookie. I'd give you a peppered fish gut now. But you couldn't take the heat, could you?
Let's hear what Mr. Wright has to say. What is contradictory about the victim's shoe? Show us the problem with this evidence.
If we rotate it, there's blood on the bottom of it. That just doesn't really make sense. As far as I know, this is the problem. Yeah.
Take that!
I wonder if you noticed. There's blood on the bottom of the shoe. Don't mess with me, rookie. Or it'll be your blood on the bottom of my shoe.
That is the most direct threat I've heard all day. Indeed, there is quite a bit of blood on the bottom of the shoe. It makes sense. The victim was stabbed with a knife. What could possibly be contradictory about blood on the bottom of this shoe?
One moment. Sorry, game audio got desynced for a second. I'm gonna have to be sort of more on top of that than I have been in the past with this capture card because my computer isn't the best. Alright. Our issue is the crime photo. I think. Yeah, there's no footprints.
Take that!
The problem lies in the footprint. The footprint. Note that the bottom of the victim's shoe is covered in blood. Then, isn't something strange? Why weren't any bloody footprints found by the scene of the crime?
Why weren't any bloody footprints found by the scene of the crime? Aha!
As you can see, there were no traces of any such footprints at the scene of the crime. That contradicts your claim about this shoe.
Objection!
This picture only shows part of the floor, so there could have been bloody footprints.
Objection!
Then where are they, Mr. Edgeworth? Because we checked the scene and found nothing of the sort!
Order! 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 Well, witness?
What? Huh? Great going, Mr. Wright, but it's true that the lack of a footprint is a contradiction, but then we have to ask why there wasn't a footprint.
Oh, that's true. There has to be a reason why there wasn't a footprint.
Think, Mr. Wright, think!
Hey, I don't know why it's not there. I'm just good at finding contradictions.
What?
Hold it!
I see. Now I get it.
Get what?
Our witness is more devious than I gave her credit for. We were hoodwinked to the very end. But she slipped. There is one vital hint to the truth in her testimony. What are you talking about? Think back to when she told us about apprehending the suspect.
The chief prosecutor tried to resist, but her efforts were in vain. She knocked my hands aside, kicked over an oil drum. Oh, she's beautiful but deadly. A predator, this one. A leopard woman. Rawr! I thought that was a strange thing for the normally cool-headed chief to do. No kidding.
Now, witness, allow me to ask a very simple question. This oil drum, was it empty?
Oh, that? I'm not sure I like your attitude, Mr. Edgeworth. Though apparently you're not the slowest conveyor belt in the lunchbox factory.
Witness! Well, was the oil drum empty?
The oil drum kicked over by the chief prosecutor was brimming with water.
Water?
What does that mean?
Still don't get it, Mr. Wright. Do you want to know the reason she knocked it over? The real reason? Aha! You don't mean... Yes, the suspect kicked over that oil drum for one reason and one reason alone. To erase the bloodstains that would become evidence against her. Ah! That ties things up quite nicely. The bloodstains left on the victim's shoe tie her quite clearly to this murder. Then, after the deed was done, she knocked over the oil drum to erase the telltale signs.
Why, that's a prosecutor's specialty. Erasing evidence.
That reminds me, this guy's right hand was hurt. Didn't she say she cut herself when she stabbed him?
So that's when my sister's blood got on the shoe?
Well, I see no reason to prolong this trial.
Mr. Wright, do something, please!
What? What can I do? Your sister has confessed to the crime and she tried to conceal it.
But...
Enough. There is no need for further debate. The verdict, Your Honor. Very well.
But Angel Star is on the prosecution's side! She could have been lying about the water!
This court finds the defendant, Miss Lana Skye.
Hold it! Little girl, what did you just say? Huh? Me? Did you say that I, Angel Star, was on the prosecution's side? Well, yeah, you are! You're saying my sister hid evidence by erasing the bloody footprints. Well... I thought you'd had your fill, but here you are demanding a second helping. Another lunchbox. A lunchbox called evidence.
Wait, witness, don't tell me you have something else.
Objection!
The time for deliberations is past. Any further comments and you will be held in contempt of court. Thank you for completely ignoring me and looking at the court record, Phoenix.
Your threats don't scare the cough-up queen. Look at this!
A photograph?
I had it just in case anyone had the gall to suggest that the white shoe didn't belong to the victim.
I see no room for error in this evidence.
Mr. Wright, wait! Look at the asphalt in this photo!
Hey, it's clearly wet! Erasing the last trace of doubt from the court's mind. Immediately after the murder, the crime scene was washed with water.
I'm sorry, Mr. Wright. I guess I couldn't help after all.
It's not your fault. I knew I couldn't win this case from the beginning. And it seems this is what your sister wanted anyway. I'm sorry, Mia.
Right, wet or not, don't be so quick to throw in the towel. Get yourself up off the asphalt. Take another good look. Don't give up. Not until the bitter end.
This is the last piece of evidence. Very well. This time I'd like to declare a verdict for good.
Objection!
Your Honor, wait! What is it with you people? Can't I hand down my verdicts in peace anymore? Whatever it is, can it wait?
No, it can't! Then it will be too late! Look at this photograph. Every time I do, I can't help but laugh. The last one submitted. This trial isn't over until we give each piece of evidence proper consideration.
So, Wright, are you saying there's a problem with this latest piece of evidence?
Yeah, I'll think later. Yeah, there's a problem. Right or wrong, I've got to go ahead with this.
I suppose since we've come this far, we should give every claim a fair shake. Very well, Mr. Wright. Show the court the problem in this photograph. That would be this. This muffler has a muffler in it.
Take that!
The problem in this photograph is here. What's this? There's something poking out of the car's muffler. Wait just a moment, Mr. Edgeworth. Your Honor, you just said muffler. However, I see no trace of a muffler or scarf of any kind in this photograph. A muffler is also a part on a car or motorcycle, Your Honor. Just think of it as part of the exhaust system. A pipe. I see. And I see. What's that suspicious-looking cloth sticking out of the car's muffler?
So what if there's something sticking out of the muffler? What does that have to do with this case? Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Objection!
Sorry, Miss Starr, but it's not going to be that easy. In fact, you've already told us why this is important to the case. You said as much in your testimony.
What?
Let's hear what Mr. Wright has on his mind. Tell us why you think this piece of cloth in the muffler is related to this case. The word muffler was overheard during a call made to Emma at 5:18.
Take that!
Miss Starr, recall your testimony for the court.
Ah, yes. When I arrested her, she mentioned the muffler.
That's what had me confused in my earlier testimony.
Muffler.
Yeah! Could it be that the muffler you heard mentioned was actually this exhaust pipe? If so, that means this piece of cloth is vital evidence.
Oh. Whoa!
Well, it seems we will have to suspend the proceedings.
Suspend.
I find myself wondering about that piece of cloth. If we leave any questions unanswered, we do a disservice to the law. Have the car at the crime scene inspected at once and bring me that cloth. The verdict will wait until after we've seen all the evidence. Agreed? I suppose so.
That was close.
But we made it. At least for now. This court will adjourn for a 30-minute recess. It's lunchtime, after all.
He's still hungry?
Wait, that says judge.
He's still hungry?